You were born in a longhouse. Your first breath is acrid smoke and biting cold. Welcome. Simply surviving here is a feat. The weak are claimed by winter. You stand in the snow barefoot and learn to endure. You are a Carl, a free man. That means tilling rocky soil while the Jarl drinks mead, but the sea is calling. They say that in the West, gold sits in churches just waiting to be taken. Easy pickings. You sold everything to fund the raid. Check your gear. What does a Viking need to kill? A helmet. Where are the horns? Leave the horns to the cattle. In a fray, an enemy will grab them and snap your neck. Stick to steel. Chainmail costs a fortune, so your choice is the gambeson. A layer of linen, a layer of wool, and a layer of lice. Your shield is linden wood, soft and fibrous. An enemy's axe will bite into it and get stuck, leaving him open to your counterstrike. The axe is your life. You use it to chop wood, build your home, and crush skulls. It is cheap and lethal. Forget the sword. It costs as much as a herd of cows. Swords are for jarls or the luckiest of marauders. A seeks, the long knife on your belt, serves you well. Will you use it to carve meat at dinner or slit throats in a frantic scrum? Both. You are a barbarian, after all. Surprise. You wash more often than the Christians. A comb is your most essential tool. Your rations are dried cod, hard as flint. To eat it, you need the teeth of a troll. The drakkar, flexible, fast, with a shallow draft. It is technology centuries ahead of its time. If the wind dies, you take the oars. Rowing for 10 hours straight, your back on fire and your hands raw. This is your engine. No compass, only the sun, the birds, and raw experience. A navigator's mistake makes you fish food. The farewell is brief. Your wife hands you a cloak, her eyes dry. Northern women don't cry, they wait for the spoils. You push off. The sail catches the wind. Your home fjord vanishes, replaced by a gray abyss. There is no romance in the sea. You spend 3 days retching, sleeping in a slurry of salt water and vomit. Then, the fog lifts. The green hills of England, fat sheep, and defenseless monks. A raider's paradise. You leap into the surf. It's ice cold, and your mail tries to drag you under. Stumble now, and you'll drown a meter away from glory. The monks don't run, they pray. To us, this is madness. Will their God protect them from the axe? Let's find out. The church doors are stout, but our axes are stronger. Splinters fly like gold coins. You step into a world of gold, crosses, chalices, and candlesticks. You rip the silver from the icons. God won't mind. He has plenty. And the berserker? You thought he was a noble warrior? No, he's a fanatic high on fly agaric, shaking with foam at his mouth. He feels no pain as he hacks through friend and foe alike. Stay clear of the psycho. The locals arrive, the FYRD. Peasants armed with pitchforks and barrel lids. Laughable. The meat has delivered itself. You form the shield wall, shoulder to shoulder, shields overlapping. You become a single armored tank. The impact isn't like the movies. It's a rush hour crush, only with axes. It smells of sweat, garlic, and terror. A Dane axe with a long haft hooks the top of a shield and yanks it down. The enemy is exposed. Strike. A spear scratches you. A trifle? Think again. The filth on that spearhead will kill you more surely than a blow to the heart. Sepsis. The monastery is ablaze, black smoke signaling for miles. Run or pay. You take captives, men, women. Now they are thralls. Living cargo is worth more than gold. You find a gospel in a gold binding. It's beautiful, though you cannot read a word of it. You rip out the pages, take the cover, and load the drakkar. It's the century's ultimate game of Tetris, slaves, chests, and livestock. Overload it, and you sink. Greed versus physics. You drink ale from church chalices, the taste of blood and victory. As the adrenaline fades, exhaustion sets in. You head for open water. The Anglo-Saxon kings didn't even have time to muster an army. Speed is your shield. A wound needs stitching. You use a common needle, music, and deer sinew. No alcohol, only moss and agony. Endure it. Then comes the division of loot. The Jarl takes half. You get a few coins and a slave. Unfair? Go ahead, tell it to his axe. You return. The women look at you like gods. You brought silver. You are now a man of standing. Winter arrives. The raiding season ends. The great warrior goes back to mucking out stables and patching the roof. Deadly boredom. You don't count coins, you weigh them. You chop silver into pieces. Hack silver is the only honest weight. The economy breathes on the backs of thralls. They shear the sheep and grind the grain. You are the master of lives. Through the long nights, you play Nefatiful, Viking chess. It teaches strategy, the king surrounded. You aren't savages, you have the law. The thing, the assembly of free men. Disputes are settled with words, not steel. If words fail, there is home gang, a duel on a hide. Step off the edge, and you lose. The gods demand blood. Blot. You hang horses and dogs from the trees of the sacred grove. Odin is pleased. Your thread is already spun by the Norns. Whether you die tomorrow or in your dotage is already decided. Therefore, you know no fear. England is plundered. You look east. Gardariki, the land of cities. Rivers instead of seas. Rapids block the path, so you haul the ship over logs. Sailors turned into beasts of burden. On the steppe, the Pecheneg wait. They shoot bows from horseback. On the river, you are nothing but target practice. You carry furs and slaves south. Slavic girls are prized in the eastern markets, living gold. Then, Miklagard, Constantinople, a city larger than your entire country. Golden domes dazzle music, the eyes. The emperor pays in gold. As part of the Varangian Guard, you are now an elite bodyguard with a massive axe. The Greeks possess magic, a fire that burns on water. You've watched entire fleets vanish in minutes. Bored on duty? Carve your name in runes into the cathedral marble. Havden was here. Eternal memory. You eat off gold and wear silk. You've forgotten the taste of rancid fish, but the north is calling you home. You return a king. Your gold could buy every acre in the district. You file your teeth and rub charcoal into the grooves, a grim fashion to terrify your enemies. But the century turns. To the west, you are no longer traders. You are conquerors. The year is 865. The great heathen army. Thousands of you. You didn't come to pillage, you came to stay. You are led by Ivar the Boneless. A cripple? No, a genius. He is carried on a shield, his mind sharper than any blade. King Aella killed Ragnar by throwing him into a pit of snakes. Fool. How the little pigs would grunt if they knew how the old boar suffered. You catch the king. The blood eagle, ribs cracked open, lungs spread like wings. Cruelty is your language. You take York and rename it Jorvik, a sprawling trade hub. You are knee-deep in mud, but the gold flows like a river. The Frankish cowards pay you to leave. Danegeld. 6,000 pounds of silver is easier than fighting, for now. The second time, they refuse. The siege of Paris. You sit under the walls for a year. Disease mows you down faster than swords. In Wessex, you meet a stubborn king named Alfred. He drives you into the marshes and breaks you. You are not invincible. To survive, your Conung accepts baptism. Guthrum becomes Athelstan. Thor weeps, but politics wins the day. You settle the land. The Danelaw. Half of England is yours. The warrior becomes a farmer once more. The circle closes. The shield maiden a myth? In a grave in Burka, a warrior was found with a full panoply of weapons. DNA proved it was a woman. Norway is too small. You sail west. Iceland, an island of fire and ice. No kings, no taxes. Freedom. Eric the Red finds a block of ice and calls it Greenland to lure settlers. Marketing, circa 985. A century passes. The grandsons of the Icelanders seek new shores. Leif Erikson discovers America, but you aren't alone. The Skraelings, the locals. Their weapons are stone, but their numbers are endless. You are intruders in their world. You try to trade, offering them milk. The natives are lactose intolerant and believe they've been poisoned. War breaks out. You are too few. You flee. America remains unconquered, and the way there is forgotten. At home, the world is changing. The white god is ousting Odin. Missionaries speak of love, but baptize with fire and sword. You wear a cross for the king, but keep Thor's hammer hidden under your shirt, just in case. You can never have too many gods. The year is 1066. King Harold Hardrada falls in England. An arrow to the throat. The Viking age is over. You were promised Valhalla, feasts, and eternal battle. But that's a VIP club for the chosen. Most of you will end up in hell. It is cold, damp, and you are fed on rot. A boring eternity for the unremarkable. And the Valkyries? They aren't beauties. They are demons of war, grim hags who decide who dies. Runes aren't always magic. Usually, They are just mundane notes. This comb belongs to Wolf, an 11th century SMS carved in bone. The skald sings of your courage, if you pay him. If you don't, he'll compose a stinging insult. Fighting, a battle of wits. You rhyme insults about your enemy's mother. The best insult wins the day. Being blonde is the height of fashion. If you're a brunette, you wash your hair with lice soap. It bleaches the hair and kills the lice. A test of survival. They feed you onion soup. If a belly wound smells of onions, your guts are pierced. You're a dead man. Think you're the boss? At home, your wife rules. The keys on her belt are the symbol of her power. She can divorce you in an instant. She simply calls witnesses to the threshold and says, "I am leaving," taking her dowry with her. You are left with nothing. Your son's toys are a wooden sword and hammer. By 12, he'll have a real blade and his first kill. You killed a neighbor over a stolen goat. Now his son will kill you. Your son will kill his son. An endless cycle of slaughter. Don't want to die? Pay the wergild, the man price. A slave is cheap, a free man is dear. Everything has a price. The ultimate punishment is exile. You become an outlaw, a forest man. Anyone can kill you for your boots. We fear the dead. Draugr. They crawl from their mounds to drive the living mad. You decapitate the corpse, just to be safe. In winter, you take to skis. The god Uller approves. You hunt and fight on the snow faster than any horse. Meat is sweet, thick, and heavy. You don't drink for the taste. You drink to forget the cold and the fear. Gray hair isn't a sign of honor. It's a sign of fear. If you don't die in battle, you won't see Valhalla. Music. Old men seek out bears with only a knife or provoke the young, desperate to die with steel in hand. But most often, you die in bed, coughing up blood. A straw death, the ultimate shame for a Viking. The easy pickings are gone. The monasteries are now stone fortresses. Instead of panicked monks, you face knights in plate armor. You are no longer a farmer with an axe. You are a huskarl, the king's elite guard. Your job is to die for his gold. The blacksmith is a pragmatist. In one mold he casts Thor's hammer, in the next, a cross. Money has no religion. King Harald Bluetooth. He baptized Denmark not for faith, but for an alliance with the emperor. A master of PR. Once, the Jarl paid you for your loyalty. Now the king demands taxes from you. The Vikings' freedom is dead. Rollo took land in France, Normandy. In 100 years, his descendants will forget their tongue and become French knights. The year is 991. The Battle of Malden. The Anglo-Saxons meet us as equals. We win, but the cost is soaked in blood. After Malden, England pays us just to stay away. Danegeld, the most successful protection racket in history. Then, they hire us to protect them from other Vikings. You fight your own kin for English silver. Our leader, Nut, becomes the Great, a Viking on the English throne. Yesterday, we were pirates. Today, we are an empire. But even an emperor cannot command the tide. Nut proved it by failing to stop the waves, a lesson in humility. The ships are now monsters. The Great Serpent. Floating fortresses for the naval battles of kings. Svolder. The ships are lashed together into a giant raft. A massacre on the water. The age of the independent sea king is gone. Now, you serve the state or die in obscurity. Instead of a burial mound and a burning ship, you get a stone by the road. Thor raised this stone for his father. Modest. The sacred groves are leveled, the idols burned. Odin never struck back. The old god simply faded away. 1066. The King of England is dead. 3 wolves eye the throne. The Saxon, the Norman, and our own Harald Hardrada. 1066. The final chapter. Hardrada leads us to the end. 300 years later, the circle closes. We land in the north and crush the local earls. York is ours again. It feels like the good old days, but we grow complacent. The Saxon army moves with impossible speed. We are caught without our mail at the bridge. The trap snaps shut. A lone berserker holds the bridge. A giant with an axe, he cuts down 40 Englishmen. They are terrified to close in. Heroism? No. An Englishman floats under the bridge in a barrel and thrusts a spear upward, through the planks, into his groin. A filthy victory. Harald Hardrada falls, an arrow in his throat. He dies not as a king, but as a soldier, choking on his own blood. We arrived in 300 ships. We leave, music, in 24. The invasion force is annihilated. The Viking Age is officially closed. The Saxon victors don't celebrate for long. 3 weeks later, the Normans arrive and slaughter them. Vikings 2, Saxons 0. The Normans are just Vikings who speak French and wear heavy mail. The North claimed its prize. We dissolved, but we never vanished. Viking DNA lives in the British, the Russians, the French. We are your ancestors. You speak the language of the North. Words like window, knife, husband, and hell are Old Norse. We didn't just burn, we built. Dublin, York, Kiev, Novgorod. Trading posts became capitals. Viking women held more rights than any in Europe: divorce, property, power. Feminism with an axe. Plundering was fun, but trade was more profitable. The Vikings forged the first global trade network, from Greenland to Baghdad. The sagas were written down 2 centuries later by Christian monks. They polished the heroes and added a moral. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. Iceland gave birth to the Althing, the world's first parliament. We invented democracy earlier than you thought. The Greenland colony perished as the climate failed. The ships stopped coming. They ate their dogs, and then they vanished. Clinker built ships, overlapping planks. This was the key to the ocean. Brilliant simplicity. And about the horns, they were the invention of 19th century opera costumers. A real Viking would have laughed himself sick at such a hat. And what of you? If you survived, you went back to the farm to tell tall tales by the fire. You died in your bed, not in the fray. No Valhalla? It doesn't matter. Your blood flows through your children. That is true immortality. We were pirates, traders, and pioneers. We shaped Europe with fear and gold. The age of the axe is over, but the spirit of adventure remains. Synchronization complete. Thursday. You honor our gods every time you look at a calendar. Your skeleton sits in a museum, your spine ground to dust by the oars, your teeth rotted. That is the true price of the romance of the sea. You've become a pop culture icon. If a real Viking saw the Thor from the comic books, he'd hack that clown to pieces. We pushed the horizon back. Iceland, Greenland, America. We made music the world larger. Our blood flows in millions. We didn't win with the sword, we won with our genes. You, too, are a little bit Viking. You were a brutal killer, yes, but in a world of sheep, you were a wolf. And history only remembers the wolves. Simulation complete. The Viking era is over. I hope you smelled the salt and the blood.